Okay, everybody, quiet in the studio. Steve, we know that you're in Wales, and we know that the signal might not be too good. Ready? Fire in the hole.
The only thing you've got to put...
Fire in the hole. Shut up. God, you know, you're so unprofessional. Here we go. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Cheshire Matters, that digital pub in that digital domain where everybody buys digital pints except the Raven. And we're going to introduce him now. He's coming from sunny Wales on a really, really bad mobile phone. Say hello, Raven.
Close to Montgomery.
Well, yeah, there you go. See what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? See what I mean? Okay, let's move on to that great, that nimble, that very, very quick Gazelle, a.k.a. Trevor Nicholls. Say hello, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to our programme.
Okay.
And
no
Raven,
pronouns or anything like that? You know?
No, I'm just looking at Raven there. I just caught his phone kept breaking up because he sounded a bit Welsh to me. I don't know.
I know. Diolch.
Well, it wasn't
Diolch
attempted Welsh, so you may be inundated with complaints from our Welsh listeners at my pronunciation.
Well, I tell you what, it's not the first time you've Welsh done a bet, is it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We go with that. And we're going to go over to that man who knows all the figures. 34. Shut up. 34, 26, 36. It is Statsman. Say hello, sir.
Hello, sir. How are we all? Good.
Well, we think we're good. You want to say hello to the audience?
Go on, I'll say a big hello to our lovely listeners.
Well, listeners, plural.
Yes. All 6 of them.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, the one with the 6 personalities. Mm-hmm. Right, let's move on. Let's go straight away. All right, go on, Steve. What do you want to say? Come on.
I've got 2 things to tell you. First of all, as you know, I'm not at home on my creaking chair, but we do have a slight problem with the headboard.
We don't want to know. No, too much detail.
Whoa. Yeah.
I also need to tell you that whilst I'm down here, as an example, yesterday, I am at risk of wasting away because yesterday...
Not a chance. Not
yesterday,
a chance.
They not have mirrors in Wales, no?
No,
well, I nearly fainted yesterday. I don't think yes enough. I had toast and orange. Then I went for a walk on the beach and come back and a porridge and a fry up. Then when we were out in the daytime, I had one of them big, massive Welsh oggies. Then some cakes and biscuits when we were out and a cup of tea. And come back and had shepherd's pie and cabbage and then a couple of cakes afterwards. I think I could be wasting away by the end of the week. I don't know if I'm going to survive tomorrow. So
I think to be honest with you, you're starting to look like Desperate Dan.
Big grid.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering then, actually, as you said that, what's a noggy yogi? Is that an I?
Oi.
It's one of the biggest pasties you could grab your hands on. It's amazing. Oh, my God. It's a challenge, yes.
Unlike the women in Latchford, who are all smart, none of them are big pasties, are they, Trevor?
Before you go,
a couple of
exciting news. You need to listen to this. Today, I've bought, possibly by accident...
A boat?
No.
A dinghy?
Will you wait a minute? No.
A plane ticket to Australia.
I may have inadvertently purchased and found the Holy Grail. Look.
Give us a break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at his version of the Holy Grail.
I bought this in a craft shop down in, somewhere near McKintleth.
All right.
I'm going to get it looked at, get it investigated.
All right, and analysed.
Worth about 50p, that mate.
Yeah.
I think you need to get your eyes looked at as well. Was a woman wearing glasses? Was a woman wearing glasses because she obviously seen you coming?
Yeah, that's true. Nutter.
And binoculars.
We paid £50. We'll get £50 off that nutter.
Hey,
all right.
What?
Come on.
I'm struggling to survive and not enough to eat.
All right, enough of the banter. Let's move on to the roundup. And let's listen. Straight hot off the plate. Nigel Farage has won an award at the Trick Awards. And that's the Television and Radio Industries Club. And he's won an award for Best Presenter. Best News Presenter.
Audience weren't happy, were they?
Oh, no. They were booing him and different things. And, I was imagining him turning around and saying, well, I've been booed before. And he did. He said, he's been in the European Union. He's been booed by them. He said, they lost. So he was
sour grapes, do you think?
Oh, just a bit. Well, it's an old boys club, isn't it? Basically, he accused them of, basically slapping themselves on the back, and marking their own homework.
I have a confession, actually. I voted for him.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that because he's doing it again, isn't he? He's actually breaking the mold in the mainstream news.
Yes.
And it was mostly lefty nutters that were actually saying, and booing him, and saying, get off and all the rest of that stuff. So I'm actually very, very glad about that. So anyway, another one, and this came from Mayor Toosey, and it is a victory for the British people over mass migration. I quite like Mayor. Does everybody like Mayor? Mayor Toosey?
He's pretty good, isn't he?
No, I'll be straight with you. I'm sick to death of him. There's a mayor of Liverpool, mayor of London, I'm sick to death of him. There's too many mayors.
Well, he does these short videos, and they're good. The video discusses a perceived victory for the British people regarding mass migration in the country. The government has implemented new policies and guidelines prioritising British people for council housing, aiming to address concerns about public resources, services and jobs. So obviously what they're saying is the indigenous first. And by indigenous we mean born and bred or naturalised, just to clear up any particular doubts on that one. So what do you think? Do you think he's going to follow through with it? Do you think it's just the equivalent of vaporware? What do you think, Stats?
They follow through with anything these days.
Good point. Logic. Steve, go ahead.
Well, it's getting it past all the bureaucrats who may seek to sort of override it or sort of bypass it using loopholes.
Okay. Trev?
That's the point.
You're not going to get anything through until you change the voting system.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Moving on. Okay. Exclusive. Secret thesis inspired Lib Dem Council to give the 4-day weeks. Remember we mentioned it last week about councils wanting to do 4-day weeks but still pay full salaries? No?
Yeah,
it'd be nice to do a breakdown and see
it's okay, that.
What political leanings these councils have got, because I can guarantee I think the majority of them are going to be left.
Well,
go on. My impression is that they could only work 1 day a week and get paid for 5.
It might get more work out of them, eh?
Based on the service provision currently.
Well, I've got a good point to bring up here, actually.
Go on.
My chief executive of Waddington Borough Council, Mr. Stephen Broomhead, only works 4 days anyway. So is he going to get down to 3?
Good question.
Well, anyway, the article, it was David Hughes, the leader of the Lib Dem-controlled Vale of White Horse District Council, secretly conducted research on a 4-day work week whilst pursuing his PhD at a Belgian university. Now, this is the head of a council. So he's doing a PhD on a 4-day week. Huh? At a Belgian university.
In Belgium.
Why a Belgian university? And it proposed that reducing the working week to 4 days could improve productivity and employee well-being. Let's get that right. Hughes allegedly implemented the 4-day work week without public consultation or approval from the council's cabinet. Leading to criticism from political opponents. I don't get my words right. What the hell's going on with me? It's looking at Steve in there on the bed. Give it up, Steve. Move it off. Move the camera.
What's this?
Never mind. The council's decision has resulted in some employees working longer hours each day in order to maintain the same weekly workload. There you go.
And if you believe that, you believe absolutely anything. Bear in mind, don't forget, we did an article on Cheshire West Council, who during the lockdown periods and COVID and all that business, they had something like 14,000 days lost to COVID, but
the services didn't suffer.
Still, it begs a question.
As Stats pointed out. Anyway, Okay, moving on. We're going on. Teachers should intervene to stop children identifying as cats.
Do you know what? It's amazing. You say they should have to intervene, like as if they haven't already. It's just, oh God.
Well, it's not just cats.
This, aren't we? But
it's cats, horses, moons, or other neo-genders, Downing Street says.
There's the problem. Downing Street using the language of the lunatics.
Yep.
You don't come out and say there's so many neo-genders. You just say, what are you talking about? There's two.
Yeah. Male, female, shut up.
All it is, the children are identifying as cats. All they're doing is they're jumping on the bandwagon. They're having fun. They're having fun, as children do.
Yeah.
I did it when I was at school in the 1800s. All you do is you jump on a topic and you just wind the teachers up with it. That's all they're doing. They're just children being tubed. And, meow. That's all I say. Good luck to them.
Well,
a bowl of milk.
I think the grown-ups in the room should identify as a brick wall and leave it at that.
Maybe just identify as grown-ups
for
a change.
Okay, here's another one. 28 million funding will help keep places of worship safe. The UK government has announced 28 million in funding to enhance the safety and security of places of worship. The funding aims to protect religious institutions from potential threats and acts of violence. Yeah, there you go. The violence isn't coming from the Christians. Well, not yet anyway. Go ahead, Mark.
Can you give us a breakdown on who gets the most money? Because I can have a wild guess.
You're quite right.
It's going to be Islam.
Yeah, it is. It is the mosques. They've had the most money.
Horror. A lot of money, isn't it? To just keep a pig's head off them, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And another article. Labour encouraged mass migration. So whilst the Conservative government is being blamed. What, Steve?
Yeah, that is very well documented over the past sort of 15, 18 years or so. That they actually went out, actively pursued.
Well, this is what I'm going to tell everybody. That's right.
Immigration from Eastern Europe. And they did it. It's very well documented. Blair and Brown and
Oh, there we go. Listen, he's doing his robot. He's doing the robot. Hold on a second. Get your signal back up. Get the buffers going, baby. And listen to this. Andrew Nether, okay? Neither, a former Labour aide, revealed that the party's migration policy was designed to make the UK truly multicultural and rub the right's nose in diversity. And the policy was created despite concerns about the impact on Labour's core white working class vote. Now, do you hear that? Despite. Now, the policy aimed to open up the UK to mass migration and saw net migration figures increase dramatically under Tony Blair's government, which is what Steve was trying to say before he started doing the robot. Okay? This guy's admission was made in an article for the Evening Standard in 2008, where he explained the underhand method used to carry out the policy. And also, another one which is current at the moment, the Windrush affair has been weaponized by Labour for electoral gain, despite the issue being present for 50 years under both governments and civil servants not being to blame for technicalities surrounding arrivals in the 50s. Well, there's a lot of controversy over the Windrush and the truths and the fallacies associated with it. So I'm not going to go any more into that. Anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, yes. I will. Yeah, go on. So the replacement conspiracy theory was a conspiracy theory again then, yeah.
Oh,
not a spoiler alert. No.
Well, it is all founded with Labour, and they did it. They actually started the ball rolling. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just want to sort of state, which is something which I've said for many, many years, and I'm renowned locally for this. I've stated, and I'll say it again, if you go out and vote for any of the mainstream parties, you're selling your country down the river. But it has to be said, if you vote for the Labour Party in particular, you are effectively now voting for the complete and total eradication of your country in its entirety. Your heritage, your indigenous identity, the lot. They want millions to come in, give them support, give them benefits, give them houses, and basically they want them to vote. That's where they want to draw the vote from because they know the indigenous population here have worked out what Labour are all about.
Well,
Steve, have the Conservatives not done that for 13 years?
Yep.
The same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm sorry, mate. I mean, we all know what Labour do, but the Conservatives are doing it now. They've got Brexit, supposedly. We've got more coming in now than more illegals than we've ever had. At least it was legal with Labour.
Well, the truth is that Labour have now become the Conservative Tribute Act. That's what they've become. That's the truth.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
So anyway,
they're all puppets for the globalists anyway. So it doesn't matter if it's Labour or Conservatives. No difference. But the Labour were blatant about it. They deliberately went out to rub the right wingers' noses in it to get at them, and in the process, destroy the country.
Indeed.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay.
And also a link with Windrush, Truth and Lies. The Windrush passengers were not invited by the British government, and this is another view, but rather bought a ticket advertised in a Jamaican newspaper. The narrative that the Caribbean immigrants came to help rebuild the UK after World War II is a myth. They came looking for better prospects for themselves. Enoch Powell was not involved in the recruitment of Caribbean nurses for the NHS. He had no connection to the affair. Post-war Caribbean migration to Britain was relatively small and not really significant in terms of rebuilding the country. But the British government continues to propagate the myths about the Windrush generation, despite evidence to the contrary. And there are videos about those that people can go see. So there you go. Right?
Was that HMS Windrush, the ship? I can't remember what it was called. What was the actual title of it?
Yeah.
HMS Windrush. But I'll tell you what, that was one heck of a dinghy, wasn't it?
Don't give them any ideas, Trev.
That was a dinghy you really had to pay to get on to get service, I tell you. Anyway, what does everybody think about that, that challenge between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg for a UFC fight? Have you heard about it? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to happen?
Who's issued the challenge?
Well, Elon Musk challenged Mark Zuckerberg to a cage fight. And I'm thinking, do you know what? That would be phenomenal. I know Elon...
I'll take the two of them.
Say what?
I'll take the two of them.
I doubt it, mate.
Well, Zuckerberg is
Don't
quite...
underestimate Zuckerberg.
No, he's quite hyped up. He's jiu-jitsu, man. Okay.
And he's won tournaments and stuff. I believe Musk's done some stuff in the past, but if he's not training right now, he'll struggle,
Well, the thing that I would hope is that he would take a bit of advice and take some Jap street fighting lessons, because you don't want to play fair in a cage fight. Get some Jap street fighting.
I mean, Zuckerberg will do well, won't he? Because he drinks a Cremazone.
To what? He does what?
He goes to, what's his name? That bloke who got, who actually committed suicide that when 3 security men fell asleep. What's his name? Prince Andrew's mate.
Epstein.
Epstein, that's it. Oh, God, I've got a mental blank here. Yeah, Epstein.
That's because you need something between your ears.
That's Epstein, when he supposedly committed suicide and all that lot. When he had Epstein Island, they all used to go there drinking a chromosome. Not a chromosome, what's it called?
I have no idea. Hold on, let me think. Let me get a psychic link to the Gazelle.
Cronenberg.
Oh,
no, not Cronenberg. No, it wasn't beer.
I'm lost.
It was children's.
You're talking about the adrenaline.
Not adrenaline.
It's something that children, when they're frightened, that's what they do. That's what they generate, and that's what they all go for.
Yeah, supposedly. But it's not adrenaline. It's called
the adrenaline sparks it off, the production of whatever it is that you're talking about.
Hang on. Let's just stop this meeting right now.
Okay, pause. All right, forget it. All right, let's move on to something that Steve knows all about. We're here. We're queer. We're coming for your children.
I saw that and I thought it was absolutely appalling. If this is what we've got being given out by people pursuing this.
Well, it was topless. Agenda. It was topless activists and drag queens spark outrage at the New York City Pride. And it was published by the Daily Mail on the 25th of the 6th, 23. So I think that's last Friday. And it covers an incident that occurred during the New York City Pride Parade at that time, where they said that. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. That's a bit of a threat. Now, we're going to be speaking more about that on a special. But I'm telling you, no, it isn't. It isn't going to be on a special. It's on one of our articles that we're going to have later on in the show. So there you go. Any comments on that? Are you queer?
Yes.
And you here? Are you here, Trevor?
No, I think it's appalling.
Oh, is your name Trevor? Shut up, you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the name. I think it's adrenochrome, something like that. I'll get it in a minute.
We've left that. We've gone. That's gone.
Well, you might have gone, but I've not moved on yet.
The robot's on again. Okay, Stats, make some sense of this. I'm going to edit you all out. I mean, you're not going to be heard anyway, so there you go. Right, here's a surprising one. Sweden dumps the climate agenda and scraps green energy targets.
Hey!
Common sense.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Common sense prevails.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so Finance Minister Elisabeth Svantesson stated that wind and solar power are too unstable to meet the nation's energy needs, leading the Swedish government to focus on nuclear power instead. Whoa! This is something that Stats has been talking about for quite a while, isn't it, Stats?
It is.
Hello?
Catch up eventually, don't they?
Yeah, so there you go. And campaign group Net Zero Watch supports Sweden's move, emphasizing the importance of nuclear power for achieving a fossil-free energy future. Okay, yeah, right. But there you go. There you go. So that is Sweden coming online. And a few more to finish off this session. Nadine Dorris, everybody's favorite pin-up MP, isn't she? Especially Doris. No, she doesn't do it for you, Mark.
Not really, no.
Okay, well, she's missed the deadline. She needed to resign and advise a certain committee by the 21st of June, and she hasn't done it, so she's missed the boat as far as being able to call straight election straight away. So there you go. So there's going to be no by-election with her. Simple as that. Okay, and this one.
What is going on in this country?
There's so much. There's
Nothing.
so much.
That's the problem.
Well, here's the one. I'm going to end with this one. This is madness. Okay. Now, I'm not usually a critic of HMRC, but they do get things wrong sometimes. And anyway, there was an article in The Guardian, so it's got to be. Mark, go ahead. Gospel. And it highlights a situation where the HM Revenue and Customs in the UK fined around 184,000 low-income earners for not filing tax returns, even though they did not owe any taxes. All right? They didn't owe anything. Okay, but they got fined. And the individuals were fined £100 each, resulting in a total penalty amount of around 18.4 million. Now, according to the report, the fines were issued to people who failed to submit their self-assessment tax returns, even though they were not required to do so because their income fell well below the taxable threshold. The affected individuals consisted mostly of pensioners and individuals with low incomes. So HMRC has acknowledged the error and is in the process of refunding the fines to those affected. The mistake is attributed to a glitch in the system used to identify individuals who needed to file tax returns. The issues raised concerns about the efficiency and accuracy of HMRC systems. I mean, they're trying their best, HMRC, but they really are underfunded in certain areas. They really are. Go ahead, Mark.
Who the hell pays a fine that you don't need to pay? And what kind of legal advice did they have?
Well,
it doesn't seem right to me. I wouldn't be paying that.
Well, the thing is,
they don't have legal advice. These are the vulnerable people.
I know, he doesn't really need them.
Truth.
You just
That's
don't
the
pay
truth.
it.
You receive a letter from the HMRC and you're frightened.
Well, that's the whole bit. You know, they make it like a sort of a warning.
Just one very, very quick one on about incompetence. I got pulled up by a police officer. What a beautiful person. Pulled me up and said, "Your car is not insured, sir." I said, "I assure you, mister, my car is insured because I don't even pay it. It's run on business. Your car is not insured." I said, "Well, your system doesn't work because there has been a conversation on the radio just recently about how your system doesn't work." He said, "Yes, it does. And your car is not insured." I said, "Well, I assure you it is, sir." Right? "Come round to my house now." "I've not got time to come round to your house. You just spent 15 minutes talking to me." I said, "Your system doesn't work." "It's not our system. It's the insurance companies who don't notify us."
All right. So
it still wasn't you.
So let's just think about that for 1 minute. The incompetence of the police. Your system doesn't work. Our system does work. It's not our system. It's the insurance companies that don't notify us. Therefore, sir, your system does not work. I'm sorry. I just had to get that in because this country is just absolutely finished. It's incompetent.
Yep.
And the biggest incompetence is government level.
Yes, but they're getting away with it. And I think...
Well, it's got to stop. It's
got to stop. Right, we're going to move on to the national. And this is society sick? And is it affecting the children? And...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, give a quick summary of the opening gambit on there. We're talking about an audio recording which was made quite famous of Year 8 students challenging their teacher on gender identity ideology, suggesting that the children's arguments against gender identity theory are straightforward and reasonable. They argue that gender identity theory is vulnerable to rational questioning and criticize organizations like Stonewall, Mermaids, and Gendered Intelligence for successfully promoting their agenda by linking it to more popular causes. Now, we've lost the Raven, which is great. He has gone.
It's flown away.
No, he's in the middle of Wales. A sparrowhawk's got him.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hand this over now. That's great. I'm going to hand this over to Stats and let him open up on that, just to give an opening.
Yeah, I definitely think society's sick. Problem is, we've got fully grown adults, haven't we, who should know better, who are pushing this madness. And then there's others who are just following it blindly.
Yep.
And then there's others who are turning a blind eye. So there's quite a lot of people to blame here. I think the time to ignore this is long gone. Every responsible adult now needs to step up to the mark.
Yeah.
Teachers, parents, everybody needs to stop lying to children.
Do you think
they need to stop making the children lie, and they need to stop gaslighting them, John?
Yeah. But do you think that the teachers are too scared to do the right thing?
How can I don't get this. This is another example of political correctness, and it's the same thing that's gone wrong in many things in the country. I'll give the rape gangs as one of them. You can't be scared. This is reality. I'm not being funny, but why do we have to fight to confirm reality? Yeah. What society are we living in, John? Yep. It doesn't make sense to me. Yep. It's our children's future at stake here. Well, we've got massive problems. If on any different day anyone can just identify as anything, and then words all change and have different meanings every day, what a twisted mess the left to turn this country into.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, the teachers could be frightened of not following through, but who's actually telling them what to do? Because the DFE aren't actually stating that they have to do this. They've actually stayed out of it. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, we discussed this, didn't we, on the... see, everything we seem to be talking about now is all crossing over into each other, because we did the... I think it was like part 4 on the identity specials, didn't we? And we were talking about education.
Yeah.
And it's coming from the Equality Act. But because it's not explained properly by the government in their guidance and stuff, there's third parties coming in and training the teachers, and they're pushing their ideologies into the schools.
Yeah.
And you've got activists in schools. So it's a mixture of these third parties and the teachers and the professors and stuff.
So you think they're taking advantage of that lack of clarity from the government?
The problem is some of the activists know exactly what they're doing. The rest of them, I'm afraid, are just doing their jobs and just following the diktat.
Well, with these activists...
Not using logic, John, or reason to figure out if this stuff's mental or not. They're just following it.
Well, with these activists, I think you've got to follow the money, because they can only do it with funding. And the way to do it is to attack their funding. Get their funding away. Get their stuff away. Let them waste money on books and pushing books and get them out of the schools. Anyway, go ahead, Trevor. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, I mean, it's Pink Floyd. That's all I've got to say about this.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
That was in the 80s, that. Oh, my God, if they knew how right they were. Hey, teachers, leave our kids alone. We're really surprised at what happens in this country anymore. It's finished. I'm sick of saying this. I am really fed up of saying this. This country's finished until we get rid of this two-party voting system. And that's a fact, that. I don't want to keep going on about it, but it's a fact.
In that position, stay in that position, because you sound a lot clearer.
What, in that position there?
That
Don't
is,
move.
yeah, with one arm up, your leg pushed out.
Right, got it. Right.
Stay there.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I was surprised about it. You know, we've got to get rid of this two-party system, and that's coming soon. That's coming in within the next Parliament, I reckon. But anyway, you've got at the minute, you know, our children are going to continue to suffer. They are.
Yeah.
You know, as I mentioned earlier on, the police service is finished. And I'm not going to go on about it. It's just finished. Now, teachers are frightened of their own shadows at the moment.
Yeah,
They're
because
so afraid.
they don't know. They're afraid if they don't acknowledge their pronouns or genders and all the rest of the stuff. They're frightened for their jobs.
They are. They're frightened of their own shadows.
And why is it that way? Because nobody's enforcing this.
I know why, because they'll get cancelled by their own side. Like your MP, Trev, who has to say a certain thing when she knows it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's following the whip, etc., and all types of policies, isn't it? Now, they're frightened to death of offending anybody. And all this it's affecting their ability to teach.
Yep. Which they should be
system.
sticking to the main subjects.
Of course they should. They should be sticking to the curriculum, but they're not, because this is not clarified in the curriculum, is it? I mean, the whole system.
It could be argued that if a kid identifies as a cat could turn around and say, well, what's the good of an education to a cat in the future?
I'll tell you what, that's a fair comment, that.
You know, that's it.
And again, I mean, the whole system needs a total reset. And I don't mean, the gender to anyone before anybody says that. But that's what's got us into this mess in the first place, isn't it? People fiddling and diddling with it.
Oh, yeah.
The topic, I mean, this topic in general, is just touching on a failing system. I mean, I cannot remember in my short lifetime anything.
From the 1800s.
When you were lighting those gas lamps for a living.
Yeah, I mean, it is a short lifetime.
And knocking on windows as an alarm clock for people having to get up. Yeah, we remember you, Trevor.
No, I'm still looking on windows, but I thought I wouldn't have expected you to mention that. Anyway.
Okay.
Now, and it's really short compared to the universe, isn't it? And in fact, it's very short compared to a tree I found in when I was in Greece, a 400-year-old tree. Yeah. That's 4 of our lifetimes. Do you realise that?
Yeah. Anyway, you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I know we keep going on about this, but you've got to realise that we've had a Conservative government for 13 years. Yeah, really? I know. Yeah, for 13 years. They've got to take the brunt of this. They've got to take the brunt of it, haven't they? I mean, yeah, look, I know that Labour left a note saying in the Treasury that there's nothing left.
Yeah.
We all know about that. Now, the Tories will leave one. They'll say, ha, ha, ha. -2 trillion, have it.
No, they would be leaving a note saying, we identify as cheaters. Simple as that. Mark.
Well, all I've got to do to add to that is, for God's sake, change the voting system and let's get something sorted.
That's his running theme.
That's my running theme, it is, honestly.
Mark, what has the government actually said about this? Have they piped up? Have they said what's going on?
It doesn't matter what they say. These schools are breaking the government guidance and they don't do anything about it, John. So it doesn't matter what they say. They're being totally ignored. I know parents are being ignored too.
Are the government telling them to stop? Are they telling them to intervene, head teachers to intervene to stop the kids from identifying as all these different things?
Coming out and saying it in the news isn't really good enough, is it?
Well, if they say it in the news, they've got to be held to it.
We've been through all this. And I've been through all the guidance that the schools are breaking. I've told schools they're breaking the guidance. They're not interested. They don't care because there's no accountability. And this is the problem, you see. Now, my main issue with this, John, is no one ever talks about children's mental health. We have this day, that day, LGBT pride, all this stuff, right? But we've actually got an epidemic. On our gender special, went on for about an hour long, didn't it? I went through all the statistics of all the mental health rises with children, which all synced up to this Equality Act and all this trans stuff. Now, it's being spurred on by ideologically driven morons, and they are putting vulnerable children at risk. John, this is grooming, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And since I first brought this up with school about the gender identity, now look, 2 years later, you've got now people, I was only on about identifying as the opposite sex or non-binary. Now you've got cats, animals, the moon. It is spiraling out of control. Yeah. And you mentioned books before. So, I mean, I know we found some on gender identity. They were bad enough. But I swear to God, if I find any books like they're finding in America, which are literally kink, they are depicting sexual acts to minors, then I'll have these schools shut down one way or another. I'm telling you now, the left are morally bankrupt, John, on this.
Yeah.
I'd say anyone who promotes this stuff needs to be fired. I think we keep repeating this. And they're the ones who need to be given courses, and not on diversity, on reality. Who do these people... Do you know what? This really makes me sick, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, considering that there's a prevalence of mental health issues in schools, you know, and approximately it's between 1 and 2 in 10 children and young people in the UK, they experience those mental health problems. And these issues are actually prompting them and promoting those mental health issues. Go ahead, Mark.
You know, when I said society was sick, I know this is coming from America, and I want to try and stop this before it comes here, but what do you guys think of the parents who are taking these children to pride events?
Oh, they're just
Have you been
sick.
watching them where you've got grown men
Gyrating.
almost naked, gyrating in front of children, purposely, men in dog collars and dog masks with dildos
around the neck,
whipping each other.
Yeah.
And then they're taking them to drag shows.
I brought this up on a recent... I brought this up on a recent podcast. When everybody was on about that Sam Smith, it's the parents.
Yeah.
The parents, they're the grown-ups, not the children. If your child wants to go to watch Sam Smith, you make some sort of excuse because that person is not fit to perform for children.
Yeah, that's right.
The same as his gay pride. It's the parents' fault.
Well, then, in that case, then the parents are sick. Then, really, and also,
yes, they are.
Also, where is the funding?
One's taking them to these events, are you?
Yeah, where is the funding for the support and access to services for people suffering from mental health issues? Because a lot of the times, the schools are claiming that there's not enough money. Go ahead, Mark.
John, you go to the schools and you tell them all this stuff and you tell them about the children's mental health epidemic and they ignore you too. So when they tell you they're all about looking after the children, sorry, full of it.
It should be.
The problem the schools have got is they go around teaching people factual stuff about biology and then they slip all this insanity in there, which is based in no reality whatsoever. And as I said in the special, it was all concocted by paedophile eugenicists and sexologists.
Yeah.
Is this really what we're going to be teaching to our kids?
No.
Sorry, but anyone who's pushing this, you're on the wrong side of history. Watch out.
Well, they're on the wrong side of a lot of things, and you're quite right. History will not look too kindly upon them.
No.
And it's as simple as that. But we should, and I'll come to you in a moment, Trevor, we should be looking to defund. That's the way to attack these people. Find out their money sources and attack it.
Educate your children as well before the school.
Indeed. But that's the first line of attack is to attack their funding sources, because then that stops them being able to get through. And also weed out the individuals in places of influence.
And don't expect the government to come to your rescue on this issue because they won't. They never do. They're the ones who are responsible for this, for letting this fester.
Yep. Well, because it distracts the people. That's what they do. And I'm sorry, but I don't agree with it either. Go ahead, Gazelle.
Adrenochrome. It's come to me. I've just had a big...
Just came to you from Google.
Well, the fear and the adrenaline helps to create that chemical.
Adrenochrome. Sorry, I do apologise for that, but it's just something... I mean, I've just had a vision now. There was the Virgin Mary's just approached me on my wall outside.
What... You've had a miraculous vision.
Are you a prophet?
Prophet? No, I'm skint. No, but she just come to me now. She was sat on the wall and she said, "Trevor, my son, what you need is adrenochrome."
You don't need it.
She did.
You don't need it. Not at all.
I think what's going to happen now is I think we'll have some programs, i.e. Only Fools and Horses. They'll all be coming to my back garden tomorrow.
You'll have nuns coming in, right?
Anyway,
just say.
All I can say on this particular subject, I mean, I'm serious here. I mean, children are our future.
Yeah.
As was once said by a great singer, children are our future.
Yeah, well, but you wouldn't let them babysit your kids, though.
Well, you won't. Well, there is that, yeah.
You're talking about Michael Jackson.
I might be.
We know you are. Right, we're going to call it on that one. Okay, on that happy note. And you don't need any of that rubbish. You just need some beer. good old English foreign beer.
You can't beat it. It's like a proper English Chinese, isn't it?
That's it, a proper English Chinese. We do love them. We do love them. Right, okay. And the local this evening. And again, this is going to be with stats, I think. Is it possible to do in Macclesfield what it is impossible to do in our own town, like Ellesmere Port? Tell us.
It would seem so. Do you want to just set the scene for that story?
I will do.
And I'll tell you why I thought this story sets off some alarm bells.
Well, this article is from that local advertising collecting mag.
Sorry about that.
And Cheshire has been, a man in Cheshire, in Chester. Let's get this. Oh my God, I'm getting worse than the Gazelle. A man in Cheshire, has been repeatedly defecating in public places. And no, we're not talking about the town hall or any of the council properties. The man, who remains unidentified, ex-councillor, has been causing distress and inconvenience to residents and businesses in the area. His actions have led to an increased presence of police and council workers trying to catch him in the act. I mean, to catch him in the act. Well, to catch him in the act, you wouldn't have to wait very long because he's got to drop his trousers, squat, do his bit, and all the rest of that stuff. You could call the police in the intervening time. The authorities are urging anyone with information about the man to come forward and help put an end to his inappropriate behaviour. Does he use toilet paper?
Just going to say that. What was it? Leaves? Follow the leaves.
Does he wash his hands afterwards?
Doubt it.
You don't have to do, because that black and white cat next door to me did it this morning on my tarpaulin, and that didn't have any toilet paper.
How do you know it was a cat? It could have been somebody identifying as a cat. It could have been this guy. You don't know. But anyway, go ahead, Stats. Sorry I'm laughing at it, but I mean, it is bad.
See, something wrong true with a little issue that I mentioned on the local a few weeks back about the homeless guy sleeping in my village. And I'd contacted everyone under the sun, and there was no way of getting rid of him. A business owner whose property he was sleeping on closed the business.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the police.
Yeah,
the police said
she
there's
closed the
nothing we can do.
business. So the last few weeks, we thought, I think he's gone. We were being told he's gone. Well, I've seen him back anyway. And so I thought I saw some parallels between this guy the guy who's actually, I don't think it's all just to do with him defecating in the street. He was actually offered accommodation by the council and refused. So therefore, they were all able to put some kind of order on him to ban him from the town. I think it might have been Winsford or something. And then I thought, well, it's a similar complaint. Okay, this guy isn't, well, he might not be pooing in the street, but he's got to be going somewhere. But he's caused criminal damage.
Excuse me, this program is highbrow. Can you use the word defecating, please?
Oh, I did once, and it didn't seem right. Okay. So he's also...
You could also use the expression taking a dump.
I could do, yeah. But the sad thing is there was nothing able. They weren't able to do anything with this guy. But I went to the hotel, the local one, and he's been there, and he's not interested. So it's the same situation, is it not? Causing a bit of a nuisance.
Very much so.
Causing people anxiety.
I see the point that you're making.
So I sent this, a copy of this story to the business owner. And to say I'm sad about her reply is an understatement. This is a foreign lady who came to this country to make a success of her business and give local people jobs.
Illegal migrants.
Yeah, but because of our poor system, and there's a bit more to it than that, she's had problems with planning and stuff. She's now decided to move to another country to set up a business because she's ill and she's skint.
Yeah.
So we are now driving away people who wanted to put something back into society and swapping them for these unskilled migrants coming on boats. So isn't this fantastic? This actually makes me quite sad that she's said she's going to close a business now. I'm really upset now. Apparently, I was told the local councillor who beat me was all over this. Really? Well, good job, Labour. Thanks for voting him in. Another donkey. Brilliant. So as a follow-on from them, the boat people, I've been watching videos of Asians today chopping each other up with machetes and running each other over in vans. So I can't wait for more of them to arrive while we, treat the other people who want to run businesses and give people jobs like what that other fella does in the street.
It's the lack of accountability. Somebody to actually take responsibility to say, no, you're not on. I saw a video of a policeman, one guy, and I put it in our group chat, and he was surrounded by a group of people, and the first thing he did was he knocked the legs of the guy that he was after right from under him, put him down, and then whoever it was, a female connected with him, came across, and he just tasered her straight away. Bang. Finished. Job done. And all the comments were, can he be our policeman? we want somebody like that in our area. And I put up a comment to say, Merseyside, Manchester, or where? Question mark. Where he was from, because they just do not muck around. This guy was like really slick. He asked the guy, he said, get down. And the guy didn't. And whack. Legs right from underneath him. Boom. Down on the floor. And when he was being attacked by somebody else, this lady, she punched him, I think. Boom. Tasered. She went down like a whale. Down. So I don't mind policing like that, to actually put down any kind of physical problems with people. That's what we need. We need more of that.
It's funny, Trev, when they want to, they can get stuff done. So like John said at the start, it is possible to do in Macclesfield what it is impossible, apparently, to do in Ellesmere Port.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the only difference being is one's booing in the street and the other one's causing damage. I mean, come on, they're crimes, aren't they? I mean,
they
I
are
wouldn't say
crimes.
put him in jail, but if you can move one guy on, but you can't move the next, something's not right, is there?
Well, at least there'll be a toilet in jail.
Correct.
Yeah. Toilet paper, I don't know. But anyway, the DOBs, and they give him all these titles in it. Does he really care?
No.
You're not going to, you can't. They're
No,
just, I mean, I can't say he's a character, because if he pooed in front of my grandchild, I'd knock his head off. So I'd end up in jail. I mean, you know, but it's
yes, no, we understand. Yes, no, we understand. We understand.
Yeah. But anyway, there we go.
Anyway. Well, I'm calling an end to that crap story.
It stinks, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just wipe that one away.
And with the fact that the Raven has done his robot and disappeared, which is great. Yay!
Yeah, we got done quicker, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Well, the edit's going to be a lot easier as well. Okay.
I mean,
it was as if he wasn't here.
Why did he suddenly disappear? Did he want to poo? Was he heading to the woods in Wales?
He could be the man.
No, do we?
That's where you go in Wales, isn't it?
Hey, check your beaches in Wales.
After all he's eaten. Whoa.
Oh, what? Okay,
Like a horse.
Shout outs and shout downs. Go ahead.
Go on, I'll do it. I want to do a shout down, and it's got to be St. Paul's Cathedral, hasn't it?
Oh,
Has
yeah.
anyone seen this? They labelled Winston Churchill as a white supremacist. They've removed it from the website, but too late. Despicable. Again, another example of what we've covered in our specials, our institutions turning against us. Disgraceful.
Anti-white.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's all wrong. They're going to
They're
get a
on the
backlash.
bandwagon. They're on the insane lefty bandwagon, aren't they? Where reality is just cuckoo.
Left-wing nutters. That's
Absolutely.
what they are. Left-wing nutters. Okay. Well, that's a good shout down, St. Paul's.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, Gazelle.
I'm
Or
afraid
are
I've
you
only got
identifying
two.
as a cat right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, me.
Come on,
I'm
Pussy
not-
Willow.
No, well, it's
Meow.
I mean, my shout out is it's just conservatives, isn't it? It's the government, it's everything. You've got to get rid of this.
Oh, now you've got access to the Reform website. You're now
right,
turning.
Because this always comes back to weak leadership every time. Because if we had strong people in charge, we wouldn't be moaning about half of this stuff.
No, and they would be getting things done.
We haven't got anybody in charge, have we?
Nope. No.
It's absolute free fall. We've got to just get rid of it. We've got to, you know. I mean, you're only going to get Labour. I understand that. You're going to get Labour and nothing's going to
The
change.
Conservative Tribute Act.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and they're going to get in power. They'll do it. And everybody will be moaning again. You've got to change the voting system, please.
Yeah.
I got a lot of likes. I got a lot of likes on Facebook for saying, because they had a poll and they were asking, who is your least favorite comedian? And everybody was going through all the lists of the comedians they've got. Lee Mack, da-da-da-da-da. And I put Rishi Sunak.
Rishi. Yeah.
and also, who's that chap? He keeps on putting up these odd jokes on there. What's his name? Lee? Remember Mark?
Oh, Lee Hurst.
Lee Hurst. Oh, God.
Yeah.
He said he thinks that we should arrest these Just Stop Oil people and for their community service, make them dig for coal.
Classic.
It just makes me laugh. Well, my shout out is going to go for a local garage, and it's A1, and they are A1. So this is for Badge, Steve, and Dave. Okay, they do a great job, and they are a credit. They are a credit to the town because they actually do things at a price that people can afford.
Can I sneak in a shout down to whoever you buy your cars off? Because you do an awful lot of shout outs to garages.
No, I mean, things happen. They always do. Things happen, and they are spot on. And I see them, and quite literally, they are. I'm putting it nicely. The garage is not like one of the mainstream dealerships when you actually go into it, but you don't pay for that. You just pay for a great service, and
Fair
also
enough, yeah.
a few insults along the way. I mean, you got to have that. Otherwise, it's not worth going. The banter is great. But anyway, there you go. That's my shout out. And we're going to say, well, seeing as though Steve is not here, Steve says goodbye.
No, he says good night. Love you.
No. He says goodbye. No, I know he says good night. Okay.
Oh, hang on. What's that?
What's what?
Hear that banging?
That's Steve.
That's his headboard.
He's trying.
Shut his headboard.
Yeah.
You heard it banging?
That's where he's gone.
We don't want to know anymore. Too much detail. Too much
Put a
detail.
blanket between the headboard and the wall. Should be all right.
Yep. All right. Okay.
It cost him about 150 quid for the plastering to recover the wall.
Hey. Okay. Say good night, Stats.
I'm going to say in honour of Steve, goodbye.
All right.
To all lovely
Okay.
listeners.
Okay. And the Gazelle, say good night.
Yes, in honour of Steve.
That's where he's
Oh, man.
at. He took with him those special Wellingtons. Yes. Quite a number of girlfriends that he's found out there.
See our new Welsh correspondent.
Yeah. I know.
Can you do that?
We'll have to ask. Go on.
Headboard again.